Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Boom, 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 boom. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys had an amazing week. Sorry, let me just adjust myself. I hope you guys had an amazing week this past week and you are well prepared for your week coming. I want to say thank you so much for coming and jumping onto my channel and talking to the authority of retail. I think before we get started, guys, I just want to say make sure you subscribe, obviously, turn on your notifications, and leave me a thumbs up. Um, this past week has been very enlightening for me in terms of people actually understanding what it is that I do. So I just want to quickly explain what I do and my background in not so many words, because today we have an exciting topic. So basically what I do in a nutshell is that my background stems from retail buying, okay? So in basic terms, that just means someone who was in procurement, who makes sure that when you walk into stores, there's product for you to buy. But when you mix in the fashion element, it then becomes a little bit more involved and quite complex, because you're not only making sure that you've got stock in stores, but you're making sure that you're giving your customers fashionable items that will make them want to return to keep on buying in that store. So my career started off at Woolies, and I've been a buyer for the past maybe 11 years now. And what I'd noticed is that as a buyer, it's so difficult to find suppliers, manufacturers who actually understand what it takes to be an actual supplier in the retail market, the responsibility that comes with it, the financial backing that comes with it, the setup of a factory, the certifications that are needed for you to be even considered to be a supplier. So what I do then for small businesses is I teach them how to set themselves up as a supplier who's ready to deal with retail. And then I also help my bigger clients to find suppliers, okay? So I deal with small suppliers, then I help big businesses to find suppliers that can jump into their retailers and work with them immediately. So that is what I do in a nutshell. If you need further explanation, leave me a comment or send me a DM on my Instagram platform, and my handle on Instagram is at KibaBam, at KibaBam. Okay, let's move on to the topic. So today's topic is to talk about there's no rush in being a supplier. All right, there's two ways you can approach being in the fashion industry, okay? In South Africa, the first approach is for you to have your own brand, and then the second approach is for you to be a supplier for a retailer. There's huge differences in these two suppliers, okay? So the first step that I would always advise someone who wants to go into the fashion industry is to take some time to do research about what is actually going on in the industry in terms of sales, and what are customers wanting more, which category are they voting for more, than not. So what I mean about that is I literally, would advise go onto the internet, type in top most selling items in South Africa. I just want to grab my laptop and then redo the list, okay, of items that are really doing well in the retail space. Okay, so what I'm explaining to you now is in the context of someone who actually wants to start their own brand. So the first point of call that I would advise is to firstly understand in your country, which is South Africa or Namibia, wherever you are, is there a big enough population that is economically active who actually have money to buy your items? How big is the population? That's point number one. Is there a market? Then if you find that there is a market, who is your market within, that's demographic? So if there's 52 million people in South Africa, and let's say you want to sell bras, how many women are there in South Africa? And how many women are there in South Africa who have an income, a disposable income, right? And how many women in South Africa are wearing sports bras? How many women in South Africa looking for sexy lingerie? How many women in South Africa are looking for just normal, twin sets underwears to wear? So those are the kind of probing questions that I always advise someone who is starting off in industry and wants to establish their own brand to ask themselves these questions and to sit down and answer these questions. Okay, sorry, I just want to unlock my laptop. Okay, so I then Googled, I don't know if you guys can see this. I then Googled, what is the most sold item in South Africa? I hope you can see this. Oh my God, because the lighting. Can you see this? Oh, doesn't matter anyway. So just Google that. The first thing you'll see is, so I'm talking in the context that someone who wants to start their own brand and they're quite open-minded. They don't really know which niche they want to go in, and this is the establishing phrase of like, researching what you can go into. Okay, so the top 10 fastest selling products to sell in South Africa from home are phones and accessories for cell phones, laptops, laptop and gadgets, fashion products, baby products, electronics, gaming, health and beauty, home and office equipment. So the nice thing about Google is that you can almost find any information on there. Okay, so now let's say you've decided, okay, you want to go into baby products or you want to go into health and beauty. Then you will take it a step further and find out which of the products in health and beauty are selling the most in South Africa. Then you're going to take it even a step further. Can I make my own products at home? Where can I find a constant supply base? A supplier that I can trust who will deliver on time? Then you start researching suppliers. Then who are you going to sell this product to? How are you going to set up your business? Do you want to sell it on Takealot? Do you want to sell it from home where you make your own deliveries? Do you want to sell it on the Makro website? Who are you going to sell these items to? Then you take it a next step further. This is your own brand. What is your packaging going to look like? How are you going to attract your customer to want to buy from you? Have you researched your social networks? What does that look like? Who are you competing with in South Africa in the color cosmetic space? So there is no rush in setting up a business. You just need to understand your environment and give your customer what they actually want. Don't just sit there and say, oh, I want to sell what is dumb out there? I want to sell plants. But you don't even know if there is a market for selling home plants, right? Business is about firstly understanding if you have a market. There's no point in being in business if you're not going to make profit. If you're in business and you're not making profit, that is a hobby. You enjoy doing that for free. There's no rush in setting up a business. I don't know how many times I can say this. All right. So those are just the basic advice that I can give if someone wants to start their own brand, from home. If you want to start a business manufacturing for retailers, please be clear that you are starting a big business. you are immediately entering a big space with the big boys. So the first point of call that I always advise my clients is, do you have a track record? Have you been supplying this commodity before? And if you are supplying the commodity, what certifications do you have? Are you in the process of getting these certifications, or do you have them already? So these certifications are stuff like ISO 9000, factory audits, lab audits. Have you taken, if you're supplying food stuff, have you taken your product to the laboratories to make sure that there are no free radicals that will cause allergies, or they will cause diarrhea, whatever within your category, right? The first thing that a buyer does when you sit in front of them and you say you want to supply them, the first thing they're going to ask you for, what certifications do you have pertaining to this category? And you have to, off the bat, submit those. If you don't have those, no retailer wants to do business with you. No retailer can do business with you because it's illegal to do business with you. All right? So that's the first point of call, is the certification part. Then your factory, is it set up to be an actual supplier for a retailer? Because you need to be pumping out at least 1,000 units per week to your retailer, okay? So that shows that you've got capacity. Capacity means that you have the capability of manufacturing 1,000 units per week in order to meet the retailer's demand. Meaning that your factory is set up to being an actual factory that a retailer can engage with. You're a factory that can work with a buyer and a planner who, you can fulfill the orders. So if you are a supplier who's already, working with retailers, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Working with a retailer is not a joke. But that's why we're here, and that's why I'm here, because I'm so passionate about helping small businesses to understand what is it that they're actually getting themselves into when you're supplying for a retailer. Because the moment you supply for, let's say, a Pick n Pay, your business becomes a Pick n Pay. You are going to be brainwashed into a Pick n Pay manufacturer, depending on how scalable you are, how big your factory is, okay? So the bigger your operation is, the less likely you will be a supplier for that specific retailer, because those retailers come with demands, right? In terms of, packaging, what it needs to look like. And you have to set up in your line, to be able to print, those labels and packaging and ingredients list within your operation. And each retailer has its own specifications for that. So it's very difficult to be a small supplier and quickly diversify to supplying for Pick n Pay, Checkers, ShopRite, Woolworths, because they have their own demands within their processes. So what Checkers demands for packaging is different from what Woolies expects from you, okay? But, there's massive opportunity out there, but you just need to know what it is are you doing, and why are you doing it, and who do you want to do it with. And you keep on investing within that line. So thank you again for joining me this week. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much for supporting me. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, like, and leave a comment. Thank you so much, guys. Bye.